Gary, what are you looking to address from Wednesday going into Sunday's game?
Well, I would think the first thing for me is the performance level. As much as it was a disappointing result, it's taken a couple of days to get that out of your system. I think the players and all the management staff, we'd like to see a better performance, because not only did we lose, I didn't think we played well.
How frustrating is that, given that there's been good signs of progress this season?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I couldn't have called it, to be honest. You know, when you look through 1 through 11, it would be hard to find a player who got past marks. No, because of the lack of effort and and the willingness to go and try and win a game. But just on the night, it was an off night. It was one of those nights where we never get any rhythm. We didn't have any sort of passages of good play. Yeah, Joe Lewis made a few good saves, but overall it was a poor performance.
A lot of talk about discipline, and the manager was very strong afterwards as well. Is that something that needs to be addressed again?
Of course, yeah. There is a discipline problem. The number of red cards and bookings that we've had, but it's something we're working on continually. And the players are working at it. We're trying to pass on years of experience to players that maybe haven't been in these situations before. So everybody at the club's trying to improve the whole discipline issue.
How difficult is that to have a balance of making sure you compete but also staying?
It is a fine line. There's no doubt about that. We've got loads of competitive players. And generally when you're say you're on a yellow card and you run the risk of getting a second yellow, there's got to be moments when you've got to make split second decisions. And at this moment in time, sometimes we've made some poor decisions, and that's what it is. It boils down to decision making. When you're in the heat of the battle, you've got to still be thinking clear. Especially when you're in December and it's a game every 3 or 4 days. How key do you think this run will be in adding in the disciplinary factor, making sure you have? Obviously, it'll help if we can steer clear of red cards. But the amount of fixtures hasn't really changed since June, July. We've been dealing with 3 games a week the entire time. We have got a big squad. Suspensions have affected that squad, but we feel we've got enough quality players to come in and replace, and hopefully it doesn't disturb us that much.
Gary, there's a lot of new players come in this summer. Some of them are new to Scottish football, some of them are new to a club maybe the size of Rangers as well. Is that maybe an issue?
Adapting to the refereeing and the style of play. I think that's a good point. But there's also but you've got to learn quickly. There are moments in games where you've actually got to, you've got to have steely determination, and that will to win should never disappear. But at times in games you've got to be cute as well. Just playing the situation, playing a crowd, playing with the referee, and that does come with experience. And we've got a lot of young players in the squad as well.
Is it something you're going to have to talk about again, or Stephen mentioned that he'd had a meeting at the start of the week as well? Is it something you're going to have to just keep talking about until?
Listen, the communication that I think at this club between the management staff and the playing staff is good. We're continually chatting over all sorts of issues, and this is obviously the one that's hitting the headlines at the moment. So we're continually talking with senior players, young players, and the squad as a whole. So that will not stop.
Is it frustrating to lose Alfredo again, though? You need him for all these games coming up.
Yeah, he's different. He's a natural goal scorer. He causes threat whenever he plays. But we will miss him. There's no doubt about that. But it's a learning process for him continually. He's a very competitive guy. But we back him, and we're sitting with him probably more than most, as you can imagine. We want to try and help the guy.
And missing these games, do you think that kind of forces issue home for him? It helps him learn lessons quicker?
Well, absolutely, because every time he misses a game, it's an opportunity for him to score a goal, and he wants to get as many goals as he possibly can. And likewise, as a management staff, we need him in there because he's our main threat.
Kilmarnock have gone top of the league now. I think it's the 4th leader this season. Does that just show how competitive this league is this season and how much you relish it?
No, that's a good point as well. Yeah, that's something that surprised me. When I've been away from Scotland looking from outside, that you've looked at Celtic at this period of the season, and they've nearly clinched the league. So to have 3-4 teams up there, and Hearts and Hibs have shown decent form to begin with, and maybe fallen away a wee bit. So there's 5 or 6 very competitive teams looking to threaten the top of the table.
And having had that feeling last week when Rangers went top, does that give you extra motivation to get back there?
Yeah, I think that's the big prize. That's what goes along playing here. We've got to try and get back to back to the top again.
There's been a lot of discussion about VAR this week. What are your thoughts on it, and should it be in Scottish football?
I quite like the thought of VAR, but then in some of the decisions that have been made, in recent games all across the world, it does boil down to opinion, doesn't it? And whose opinion are they going to take? Big pluses, but there's also cons as well.
What about Dundee this weekend? How tough do you think that'll be, given they got a good
Off the back of a
result?
good result, Kenny Miller hat-trick as well. He'll be up for the game, no doubt about that. I've got to say, I watched Dundee early in the season under Neil McCann, and they were pretty impressive. But those impressive displays they didn't gain points, and obviously he lost his job. But so I think there's some good players at Dundee, and it'll be a good test for us. We're obviously looking for a reaction after the Aberdeen result.
Ryan, what do you make of facing Dundee? Obviously, Kenny Miller took the headlines on Wednesday. Is he somebody you still have to look out for, obviously, given the form he's in?
Yeah, of course. I know Kenny very well. Obviously, trained with him for a year last year. Played alongside him, and he's still got great quality. So he's definitely one we'll need to watch out for. And as Gaz says, Kenny will definitely be up for the game. And I'm sure off the back of our poor result on Wednesday, Dundee will be trying to look at this as an opportunity.
How do you, after midweek, Ryan and Gary was saying there that there wasn't many pass marks, if any, how does that motivate you to make sure you try and get back to winning ways?
Yeah, of course it's motivation. I think every time you have a blip and you have a bad result, you always say the same things, and it's always you need to show reaction. And I'm sure as a squad and the mentality we've got in the change room, the leaders we've got in the change room, though, there's no doubt in my mind that come Sunday we're going to be up for the game. Of course Wednesday still hurts at the minute, but as soon as the whistle goes Sunday, it's all focus is on getting a good result against Dundee.
Talking about a competitive league there, how do you feel Rangers have progressed this season in terms of that competitive league? Do you feel that there's certainly a challenge ahead? Yeah,
of course we've progressed. I think the quality of the squad, there's no disrespect to obviously previous squads, but the quality of the squad's very high. Obviously for myself to be playing in that, it's been great so far. I think the league is tight, but who knows, there's a lot of football to be played, a lot of big games still to be played this month, so I think after the January break will be when we can assess it, see where we are, and take it from there.
Ryan, do you think you talk about your confident bounce back, do you think the mentality has also changed this season at Rangers with maybe last season if you'd had a bad result it might fester on and there were maybe a few bad results in a row? Are you confident this season that you've always tended to bounce back, that there's something about you as a squad that helps that?
Yeah, definitely. I think as a squad what I've just mentioned is straight after the game we discussed the game, and as a squad we've said we weren't good enough, we weren't at the races, but as we say, it's about Sunday now. We have to come out, show reaction. It's a massive 3 points. It'll keep us right in the mix for the rest of the games in December. So now as a squad, I'm sure we've got the mentality and the players in there to show reaction.
Can I just ask what the squad situation is for this weekend, apart from suspensions?
Suspensions, you know already, but Borna and Ryan Kent back in contention, so that's a big boost for the guys.